We get to work on this Coby 40-inch TV, model number TFTV4028. And the standby light comes on, and that's it. And the TV didn't turn on at all. So we're going to take it apart and get all your screws off on the outside. Might want to leave this on for now. You may not have to take the stand off. And take these screws here off as well. And you get all the outside screws off. And then we'll try to take the cover off. If the cover is still attached to the stand, then we'll take the stand off. And then we'll get the cover. Did have to take the stand off, but I went ahead and put the stand on it back again because I was testing it for other purposes. But this is the back of your TV. It's your main board. And I can see if I can get you the model number of that. Not really sure. They got a marker written all over it. But that's what that says at least. Looks like it's 02 FFV. Yeah, can't read it. Anyway, here's your inverter board for your backlights, and here's your power supply. I visually did not see any bad components on here. The problem was it would work at night, and then by the time you turn it back on in the morning, it wouldn't work again. And they would unplug it and plug it back in, and it would work again after the fact. But I kept doing it back and forth like this, and then the power supply just stopped working. Point blank. Okay. So I went on shopjimmy.com, and I found this power supply that's supposed to be for this model. However, upon looking at it, everything is identical as far as the connectors and stuff. With one exception. Signal ground is on the bottom, 24 volts at the top, 24 volts at the bottom, ground at the top. So you're going to have to reverse the wires because they plug in the same direction here as they do here. So you're going to have to reverse the wires on this. And it's easy. You just take a pick or something, you press down the pins towards the connector, and you pull these two wires, they're grouping together. So the two wires on the left is one, and two wires on the right is the other. So when you swap them around, you do it in pairs. So you would just push the pins in, swap them around, then this power supply should work for this TV. I'm going to do that and say this TV works. In addition to that, I just realized this connector here, this is for power for your inverter board. 24 volts at the top, ground on the bottom, 24 volts on the bottom, ground at the top. So we're going to have to redo this harness as well. We'll just switch the wires around. It sounds like a fun project. Not. At least the other connector, I hope, should be the same. We will see. 12 and 13 inch ground. So your first two is positive, 12 volts, 12 volts. 8 is 5 volts. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is 5 volt SB. 9 is power on, which is standby. 10 and 11 is 5 volt. Yep. So 3, 4, and 5 is ground. And 12 and 13 is ground. So the bigger connector will fit into this perfectly. It's just the 12 volt and the 24 volt. I'm going to have to switch the wires around. We could just take and pry up the connector here and switch it around, but it's easier for me just to move wires around. Note, the line, which would be the red on this, is backwards from up here. So you have to reverse the polarity for that. Neutral is black, line is red. Up here, line is on the left hand side, looking at the connector this way, and neutral is on the right hand side. And if you were looking at it this way, line is on the right hand side and neutral is on the left hand side. So this connector is different backwards. This one I ended up using a screwdriver and pulling this connector up and turning it and putting it down, and it was able to have enough slack to put that in rather than reversing all these wires. And that should be it. So you go on shopjimmy.com and you look for the model number of this TV, and you have the tan board, and the model number on the website, it's going to have MLT198TX. This is what you're going to have to do in order for your TV to work properly. Have marked on the TV, power is reversed from OEM, connector 4 and 3 on power supply wires are reversed from normal. That way, for whatever reason, if somebody else has to work on this TV in the future, say that power supply goes boom, and they find that power supply off of eBay or wherever, they'll know that, hey, okay, there's something flaky here. We need to do some tinkering before we put in these connectors. I'm going to power it up, make sure it works, and then I'll show you that it works. Okay, I'm going to power it up. Backlight's on. So that's good. Nothing's blown up yet. No signal. Good. Works. Now all we have to do is just put the back cover on, and TV's working. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you got a lot of comments and questions. I will try to help you out. See you next time.